what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy it. You may be a Tiger fan as you're going to play in a game on Sunday night that I'm predicting is going to do 10 milli, boys. Last year did 7 milli.
Yeah.
Top 10 matchup this year. Way more interest, way more hype. College football seems to grow year over year. I'm calling my shot. 10 milli viewers at its peak. Well, I'm going to was 7? I think 7 was the average last year. Either way, it's going to be a massive game. Good time to be a Tiger fan. And, and this is the point of the year. Camp is done. Season's about to begin, where you hand out numbers, specifically the number 18 and the number 7. Of course, we have the king of 18 here on OTB. Here's some video of Brian Kelly announcing which LSU Tigers will be wearing these legendary numerals.
We have 2 jerseys that we like to give out within our program, and they represent some of the history associated with LSU. The first jersey is number 18, and this year the number 18 will be worn by great playmakers throughout the history of LSU. Has worn the number 7. He's from the state of Louisiana, and he's a playmaker, maybe in a different way. But this year, number 7 goes to Will Campbell. Will?
Yeah! Remember when you told me you wanted to wear 7?
Yeah, man. Shout out my dog, BJ.
No, I was not expecting this at all.
There you go, man. So Mekhi Wingo, number 18. Kelly would later say, the number 18 has great historical significance in our program. It's a number that has national championship significance. And Matt Malk ran in 2003 and leading LSU to its first snap title since 58. He passed it on to Jake Hester, who won national championship in 2007. It's worn by a player who represents the trait and spirit associated with the successful program, and that's Mekhi. He would later also hand 53 to Lance Hurd, saying 53, once worn by T-Bob Hebert, a utility interior offensive lineman that lost the national championship, really represents the sort of undersung effort that we want to celebrate here on this team. So shout out Lance Hurd as well. Jake, Mekhi Wingo joining the club, dude. How are we feeling about it?
Do we have video of him in the 53?
I couldn't find video on either the Hester or T-Bob quotes, which is weird, but, I don't know.
Okay.
Blame Matt Turnquist.
Oh, that's too good. Look, I love Mekhi Wingo. We've probably talked about him more than any player this offseason, I feel like, T-Bob. And last year, we would sing his praises for what he did, how many plays that he played, grading out as high as he did, and stepping up when Mason Smith went down.
Yeah.
Mason Smith was the headliner on the marquee, and we understand why. And then here comes Mekhi Wingo. And again, when he was a transfer, no one really celebrated it, even though he was the highest rated transfer in last year's transfer class. And I'm left hand up, like me as well. Like, I wasn't in there. Like, I didn't know that he was going to be a player that he was. And if I'm not mistaken, Taylor's usually the one that does a really nice job of this. I think the first transfer to get the honor of wearing number 18.
Yeah, he is. Absolutely.
That's a big deal. And and maybe like when we were having those discussions, I wasn't quite sure how that was going to work out. But I'm glad that it did, because if you've ever had a conversation with Mekhi Wingo, he is an incredible young man. Hopefully we can get him on the show here this week or next week to kind of talk about it. But he is the ultimate team leader. He's a guy that doesn't say a whole lot. I mean, he even said it in his video that I saw on social media, but he is certainly a leader on this team. He stepped up last year maybe more than any player as far as what the preseason expectation was to what it was by the end of the year. We're talking a true All-American. It's to have it on B.J. Ojulari and even going back to Damone and then now having it on Mekhi, like, it's on dudes. It's on guys that you count on, which I can always appreciate. And I'm glad it's one guy. I am. Like, I wasn't quite sure how I felt about 2 guys getting it kind of back and forth. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can make a case for it. Now that we've had it where it's one guy, I appreciate the fact it's one guy wearing 18, and it's a guy that certainly deserves it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he could do in this first game, because yet again, he's going to be counted on to have to step up, because Mason Smith is not going to be in that game. They're going to talk about it before the game. It's going to be a storyline that they probably go back to numerous times during the broadcast. And number 18 is going to be right there in the middle of that defense, back in the trenches where my man Benny Logan once wore it as well.
Shout out Smoke. And probably, just as impactful to that Florida State game, maybe more so, is going to be number 7, handling Jared Verse and the rest of that Florida State D-line on the edge, protecting the blind side, and that is Will Campbell. One interesting thing, and really probably the most interesting out of all of this to me, is that Brian Kelly has done a little spin on the number 7 where he wants that to now be given to the best player from Louisiana, right? So we've seen the concerted effort to embrace the boot from Brian Kelly and in-state recruiting, and they've had incredible results thus far in terms of securing the top players in the state. And this is just in keeping with that, right? Whether it's bringing in transfers that had to leave and now to come back, or continue to snag kids out of high school, it's kind of making it more of a Louisiana first sort of tradition. So shout out Will Campbell, shout out Mekhi Wingo. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.